Right, so get this. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive on online scams.
Oh, wow.
But there's a twist.
Okay, yeah.
We're going behind the scenes with an actual former scammer
No way.
who now helps put these criminals
Really?
behind bars.
Wow. So it's like what is it? It's like a real life Robin Hood story.
Right.
Except instead of stealing from the rich, they're taking down the people that are stealing from everybody.
Exactly. And so we're digging into this interview with this guy, Marwan.
Okay.
He's the brains behind this company called Find My Scammer.
Find My Scammer. Okay.
Well, he used to be one of them.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
That's incredible.
And he's using his past to help victims get justice.
What's so fascinating about that, at least to me, is that he doesn't just understand the technical side of scamming.
Right.
He understands the psychology behind it.
Yeah.
He knows how to think like a scammer.
Right.
And anticipate their moves, which is so invaluable when you're trying to track these guys down.
It's like having a former spy on your side.
Exactly.
You know, you get all the insider secrets.
Yeah.
And speaking of insider knowledge, this interview starts with this story from the author, Sebastian.
Okay.
Who actually has his own experience with Marwan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So apparently he got scammed trying to buy a vintage Pokemon game online.
Oh, no.
And that's actually how he ends up connecting with Marwan.
Oh, really?
So I think this is such a great way to draw people in.
Oh, yeah.
Because who hasn't spent hours on end looking for that rare item, hoping for that hit of nostalgia
Yes.
to kind of complete their collection?
It reminds us that all of us are vulnerable
Yes.
to these scams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could happen to any of us.
Right.
So Sebastian's telling the story, and you're listening to this, and you're like, oh my gosh, this could be me.
Totally.
So he finds this guy, he's on Facebook,
Okay.
and this guy's in a Facebook group, and this guy is selling a vintage Pokemon game for a price that seems almost too good to be true.
Right.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
red flag number one.
Yeah. If it seems too good to be true online, it usually is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we've all been there.
Yes, totally.
But Sebastian goes for it.
He does. Yeah.
And this is where it gets really interesting and a little scary. He gets, instead of going through a secure payment platform like PayPal or something like that, he gets talked into paying with a direct bank transfer.
And that's often where people trip up.
Right.
Because you send that money
Yeah.
and there's really no protection if it goes wrong.
Exactly.
You're relying on the good nature of the person you're sending the money to.
It's like handing cash to a stranger.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And hoping for the best.
Right.
And so the money is sent. Sebastian's eagerly awaiting the arrival of his Pokemon game.
Right.
And guess what? Nothing. Crickets.
Oh, no.
The seller is gone.
Oh, no.
Disappears into thin air.
Oh.
Profile is gone. Message is blocked.
Yeah.
The works.
It's that sinking feeling you get when you realize you've been duped. And so many people, unfortunately, are too embarrassed or ashamed
Oh, I know.
to even report it.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
But it's also what allows these scammers to thrive.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're getting away with
It
it.
emboldens them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is where Marwan comes in.
Okay.
Sebastian, through a stroke of luck, had a connection who knew Marwan
Oh, wow.
and reached out to him for help.
Wow. So it's like he had a cheat code for life.
I know, right?
He knew a guy who knew a guy
Right.
that could navigate the dark web and get your Bitcoin back.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. Or your Pokemon game.
Right, exactly. Okay, but here's the mind-blowing part.
Okay.
Marwan actually takes the case.
Really?
Even though
Yeah.
there's a relatively small amount, you
Yeah.
know, compared to the elaborate scams that he usually deals with.
Right.
Like, talk about going above and beyond, right?
It shows that he's driven by more than just money.
Right.
It's about helping people who feel powerless
Yes.
against these online predators.
It's like he's waging a one-man war
I love it.
against scammers everywhere.
Yeah.
And get this, Marwan does not disappoint.
Oh, okay.
He digs up this treasure trove of information on this Pokemon scammer.
Yeah.
We're talking phone number,
Oh, wow.
email addresses,
Uh-huh.
a home address,
Wow.
social media profiles of family members.
No way.
It's like he has the direct line to some secret database.
Right, because that's the thing about online scams. They often leave a digital trail.
Yes.
And he's a master at following those breadcrumbs. You know, all those little insignificant details
Yeah.
that he can piece together to build a rock solid case.
It's like those scenes in a crime show.
Oh, yeah.
When they zoom in on a reflection
Yes.
in a spoon.
Right.
And suddenly they have their guy.
Exactly.
So imagine Sebastian's relief.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
He goes from feeling helpless
Right.
to having this arsenal of information.
Yes. Talk about empowering
Yes.
the victim.
Right.
And that's one of the most important things that Marwan does. He doesn't just hand over a name.
Right.
He equips these people with the tools to fight back.
Exactly. And boy, does Sebastian fight back.
He does. What does he do?
Armed with Marwan's intel,
Okay.
he decides to confront the scammer directly.
Oh, wow.
He calls him up,
Wow. No way.
lays out all the evidence that Marwan has gathered,
Wow.
even mentions filing a police report
Oh, wow.
and contacting the scammer's family.
Oh, my gosh.
You can practically hear this scammer sweating to the phone.
Right.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The scammer completely cracks,
He does.
full of apologies,
Oh, wait.
promises to change his wicked ways,
Wow.
and even agrees to return the 220 euros.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
It's amazing how a little bit of sunlight
Right?
can disinfect even the darkest corners of the internet.
It just goes to show you that these scammers, they're not invincible.
No.
Behind the fake profiles
Right.
and the anonymous usernames.
Yeah.
These are real people.
Yeah.
And they can be held accountable.
It's a classic David versus Goliath story,
I love it.
but with a digital twist,
Yes.
But the story doesn't end there.
Okay.
Both Sebastian and Marwan realized
Yeah.
this wasn't just about one stolen Pokemon game
Right.
or one petty scammer.
Right. It's a much bigger issue.
It was a much bigger problem.
Yeah.
It's like they pulled back the curtain.
Yeah. It's like this whole other world
Yes.
that's operating just below the surface
Yes.
of our everyday lives.
Exactly. And that's what's so powerful about Marwan's story.
Right.
He's shining a light on this hidden world
Yeah.
and giving hope to people who've been victimized by it.
It shows that there are ways to fight back
Yes.
and seek justice.
Exactly. And one of the reasons that Marwan is so successful
Mm-hmm.
is because he understands how these scammers operate.
Yeah.
He knows their tactics.
He knows their weaknesses.
He knows their weaknesses.
Yeah.
And he knows how to use their own methods against them.
He's like a digital Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
But instead of a magnifying glass,
yes.
he's wielding algorithms and IP addresses.
Okay, so I know what you're thinking
What's that?
because I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
This is all fascinating and terrifying at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about how we can protect ourselves.
Okay.
Because knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more you know about common scam tactics,
Mm-hmm.
the better equipped you'll be to spot them
Right.
and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, so hit us with your top tips.
Okay.
What are some red flags to watch out for?
Well, first and foremost,
Yeah.
trust your gut.
Okay.
If something feels off, it probably is.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to walk away from a deal,
Yeah.
even if it seems like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
You can always say, you know what, I need some time to think this over.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Exactly.
Don't let anybody pressure you into making a hasty decision.
Solid advice. What else?
Pay attention to the language used.
Okay.
Scammers will often use high-pressure tactics.
Okay.
Creating a sense of urgency or scarcity
Right.
to kind of push you into acting quickly.
Okay.
They might say things like, this offer is only valid for the next 24 hours.
Oh, yes.
Or there's only one left in stock.
Oh, I've seen that before.
Right.
It's like they're trying to trigger your fear of missing out.
Yeah, it's like those limited edition sneakers,
Yeah.
that they sell out in like minutes.
Yes.
And there's this artificial demand that's created to kind of bypass your rational thinking.
Exactly. What else?
Be wary of anyone who asks you to pay outside of secure platforms.
Okay.
So we talked about direct bank transfers,
Right.
but they might also suggest using gift cards
Oh,
or
yeah.
cryptocurrency because those transactions are almost impossible to trace.
Huge red flag.
Huge red flag.
Yeah.
And this should go without saying, but
Yeah.
never ever share your personal information, like your social security number, your banking details,
Right.
unless you are absolutely certain you are dealing with a reputable source.
It's like leaving your front door wide open.
Exactly.
And saying, come on in, take whatever you want.
A perfect analogy. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you think you've been scammed,
Yeah.
don't panic.
Okay.
Report it to the authorities immediately.
Okay. And there's some great resources online, too.
Yes, absolutely.
That can help you figure out your next steps.
And remember, you're not alone.
Yes.
These scammers, they prey on millions of people
Right.
every year.
It's easy to feel foolish
Oh, yeah.
after you've been scammed.
Of course.
But it's important to remember that these criminals are masters of manipulation.
Exactly. They know how to exploit our emotions,
Right.
our vulnerabilities,
Our trust.
our trust, exactly.
And speaking of trust,
yeah.
it's kind of strange to think that Marwan, who built a career on deception,
Right.
is now dedicated to fighting it.
I know. It's a remarkable transformation, isn't it?
It is.
He's using his intimate knowledge of the dark side to
Right.
bring it to light.
Yeah, he's almost like a reformed sinner.
Right.
He's now on this crusade to expose the sins of others.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
It really makes you wonder if anyone can truly change.
Right. It's a question that's fascinated philosophers and storytellers for centuries. Right?
Totally. And in Marwan's case,
Yeah.
it seems like he's found a sense of redemption
Yeah.
in using his skills for good.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have the capacity
Yes.
for darkness and light.
Absolutely.
And that even in the darkest corners of the internet,
Yeah.
where anonymity often, kind of emboldens the worst of human behavior,
Yeah.
there's still hope for justice and accountability
Right.
and even a little bit of redemption.
Well said.
Yeah, it's been enlightening exploring this kind of twisted world with you.
It has. It has. And to all of our listeners out there, remember, knowledge is your best defense against these online scams.
Absolutely.
Stay informed, stay vigilant,
Yes.
and never hesitate to question a deal that seems too good to be true.
if it seems too good to be true,
Right.
it probably is.
Exactly.
And for our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about Marwan and the work that he does, be sure to check out the links in our show notes.
Yes.
You'll find resources for reporting scams, tips for protecting yourself online, and you can even learn how to contact Marwan's company directly.
Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.